Hello, dear friends. Patrick Peace here. Friday, June 26th, 2026, TGIF. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to just do a quick video, try and get through this as quick as I can, covering chapters 3 and 4 in Christ or Collapse, The Case Against Godless Government by David Haskell. I'm just trying to get through this as quick as I can, but I should be spending more time because there is so much information in this book. It is so valuable, it is so powerful that I shouldn't be trying to get through it quickly. But be that as it may, let's take a quick look at Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is called Promoting Christian Principles Because They Work. Remember, this is a book that talks about why government should be based upon Christian principles, right? Christ or collapse. The case against godless. If a government tries to rule its people in a godless manner, adopting godless principles, adopting Marxist principles, we can see this surge that we're going through today, both in the United States and Canada, of, people call it democratic socialism, social justice, wokeism, DEI, all these kind of moral-based ideologies that are being promoted through government as a whole or government individuals that we are currently living in. So this is so vital for today. It's so topical. It's so current. This is why it's so powerful to read it. It's a real wake-up call for Christians in Canada, which should be 50% of the population of Canada or more. So let's quickly look at Chapter 3, Promoting Christian Principles Because They Work. And I'm going to go through and see if I can just pull out the notes that I took while I was reading through it. And I hope it's okay. I'm just going to pick out a few little blurbs for you. This book can really help orient yourself in the world that we're living in today, so that you can understand where we're at. Look at this quote from chapter 96. Given the sustained propaganda campaign against Christianity by academia and the media, it's no surprise that recent surveys reveal that roughly a third of Americans and half of Canadians view religion negatively, believing it causes more harm than good. Proving the goodness of Christianity would seem like an uphill climb. As with any long hike, an important first step before moving forward is to orient oneself. Christianity is under attack. There's an onslaught through the media, through propaganda. So it's good to know what you believe, to have a firm foundation to start off, and this book can provide it for you. You won't get it in your local church when everything that they're talking about is, the Good Samaritan, turn the other cheek, the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. You're not going to be able to orient yourself from something you've heard 100 times before. That's just almost a waste of time. This is church, okay? This is if you want to strengthen your Christian faith and understand what's going on in the world today, and understand yourself, and understand who is opposed to you, what their tactics are, you have to get yourself a copy of this book if you can. Check out the publisher's website, College Press. You can get a discount or get it in installments so that you can get it in bite-sized chunks so that you can understand it. The central thesis of the book is that the survival of North America hinges on a democratic resurgence of traditional conservatism to reinstate Christian norms and values throughout public life. Have you ever heard a more powerful sentence in 2026 ever than what's found here on page 96? I'm going to read it again. The central thesis of this book is that the survival of North America hinges on a democratic resurgence of traditional conservatism to reinstate Christian norms and values throughout public life. That's how important this topic is that's being dealt with. And it's obvious the number of books that he's referenced that are beyond the scope of most people. The number of books that he references is beyond the ability of most individuals. But if you wanted to, now with AI, you could select some of the references and ask AI to give you, a concise summary of some of the books that he's referencing, because there's so many that is so that are so valuable that he has the capability to draw on those, whereas most people would find that very, very difficult. He talks about brings out all these different statistics on other religions and other beliefs, other ideologies. Time doesn't permit me to go through them all. Page 113. While Christians excel at forgiveness, polling shows that secular liberals are the most likely to hold a grudge and shun those who offend them. It's interesting because he brings up tons of Pew Research studies that have been done, and other research studies that have been done, polling that has been done, to see the attitudes of different religious groups, in particular Christians versus Islam, Hindu, and non-believers, or agnostics and atheists. And those are very important points to understand. And I love this quote from 114. Higher education no longer guarantees rational thinking. Increasingly, the far-left curriculum of most colleges and universities simply teaches people how to rationalize violence against conservatives. You will never hear that anywhere else. But once you read it, once you have somebody explain it to you, and the facts behind it, and the research behind it, and then is able to express it in a concise paragraph or sentence like that, and then you get that into your brain and you observe, you get this revelatory experience where you go, yes, that's true. It's true. He's able to distill it into an understandable sentence for the reader. Very interesting facts that Christians should know from chapter 3. William Wilberforce, you often hear about slavery, and that gets associated with Christianity. These facts Christians should know about the history of slavery, from page 121, and he talks about William Wilberforce and how devout Christians fought against slavery back in the 1800s, and so on, and the work that Protestant missionaries did, and so on. So chapter 3 is just an insanely powerful chapter. And look at the references, the number of studies that have been done that he's able to access and refer the reader to. Over 100 references and footnotes at the end of chapter 3. It goes on and on and on. 149 footnote references at the end of chapter 3. Then we move on to part 2, why alternatives to traditional conservatism fail. Chapter 4 is called Origins of Progressivism. I can't even pronounce it, I'm sorry. Origins of Progressivism and its opposition to Western principles. I can't even say that word, but I'll leave it for him to explain it to you. And this, again, chapter 4 is understanding the origins of Marxism and how it is, he talks about Karl Marx, the Communist Manifesto, and how it was expressed, and what Marx actually was like as a person. I thought that was very interesting. A year before releasing the Communist Manifesto, this is from page 152, his lack of integrity led to a particular scandalous episode. In an act of selfishness and betrayal, he impregnated his maid, a servant supported by his wife's parents, and feared both damage to his reputation, losing his ability to sponge off others. To avoid consequences, Marx convinced a friend to take the blame for the pregnancy and set the child to live in poverty. Karl Marx just wanted to live off other people. He might have been educated, or he might have been from a wealthy family and had wealthy friends, but he just wanted to live like a pig, basically. His hatred for God is also explicitly manifest in the core doctrine of Marxism, as well as, his Engels and other people like that. His target was the bourgeoisie, the rich businessmen of his society, and today the target is the anybody who's not part of the alphabet community, or the target is white colonialists and so on. So he makes the parallel between the current cultural Marxism and the Marxism as it was used by people like Stalin and Mao and how it caused these atrocities in the past, and how we are in danger today of facing atrocities today if this new resurgence of cultural Marxism takes hold, both in Canada and in the United States. The term that was used to replace Marxism today is social justice. And he explains how this came about in excellent detail. Yes, talks about personal responsibility that are part of the Christian principles. Social justice versus God's justice on page 158. This is valuable information to understand. The core premise of social justice, its very definition, is the application of partiality, the affording of special advantage to one group over another to create equity. Equity is the achieving of equal or superior outcomes not gained by merit, but imposed through deliberate intervention for those who belong to groups that may have been marginalized in the past. So the Canadian government announces jobs that are for BIPOC only. If you're a white person, you're not allowed to apply for those jobs. You're exempt from being and they don't call that racist because they say, oh, it's making up for racism of the past. Well, of course the policy is racist, so they believe in the idea of, but they don't call it that. And so this is important to see, right? Under the definition of social justice, Harvard University was able to discriminate against Asian and white applicants by requiring significantly higher entrance exam scores than other groups, and so on and so forth. It gives a lot of different examples. God's justice requires Christians to assume personal responsibility for helping others in their community who suffer through no fault of their own. For example, orphans and widows. God defines justice as one personal responsibility to care for the innocently afflicted, not the perception of people that feel that they're victims or feel that they've had injustices in the past. No, the God's justice is for today. How can we help people that are suffering today through no fault of their own? And to delineate the difference between God's justice and social justice is very important, so that you don't fall for these accusations from the radical left that says, oh, you're this or you're that, you're this, you don't have a sense of justice. No, their sense of justice is warped, and the author of this book does an excellent job to show you why that is so, based on facts, not just based on feelings. And then at the end of chapter 4, I'm just going to wrap it up because I'm going over time. At the end of chapter 4, he gives a very, very powerful firsthand experience about the effects that DEI can have on a person, to the point of wiping out their career, to the point of publicly humiliating them. If anybody stands up against DEI policy, they are called out and attacked by their professional associations, even to the point of having a personal friend of his, unfortunately, exiting themselves out of this reality and going off into eternity, which is a horrible experience. You can imagine how that must have affected the author and motivated him to put such a labor of love together as is found in this book. This is no joke. This took a huge amount of effort to put something like this together. So I'm just so glad that I'm able to work on it and get through it. This is something that I'll keep as a reference, and I'll have to return to it again, and I'll have to read it over again over the remainder of 2026, because that's how important it is. So I hope that helps. That's chapter 3 and 4. I'm sorry I got it bogged down a little bit in too much detail. I don't think I'll be able to do as much detail, but I will get through it in the weeks moving forward, and we shall endeavor to persevere. I hope you're able to spend time with people you love. I hope you're able to have a wonderful summer time with friends and family. And once again, thank you for watching. God bless you. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Get a copy of this book for yourself. Use it as a family reference guide. Every Christian family in Canada should have a copy of this book somewhere in their home, and especially for the times that we're living through today. Thank you for watching. God bless you. We'll talk to you again real soon, okay? Take care of yourself. Bye for now.